AQA English Language, Paper 2, Writers' Viewpoints and Perspectives. Source B, From Matter to Spirit. Source B, a 19th century literary non-fiction extract from a book called From Matter to Spirit, in which the writer Sophia Elizabeth de Morgan published the results of her research into people who could communicate with the spirit world. I now offer a trustworthy account, which has come to my own knowledge by an appearance to someone present at the time of death. Many years ago, Mrs. D, a person in humble life, but of tried and proved truthfulness, and rather matter of fact, said to me in a conversation about ghosts and ghost seeing, "I never saw a ghost, but I have seen a spirit rise." "If you tell me what you saw," I said, "I will write it as you speak and will beg you to sign your name." This she did, and the present account is copied from her own words as I wrote them, and she put her signature. When I was 16 years old, I was nursing a child of 7 who had been ill since his birth with disease of the head. He had been for some days expected to die, but was quite sensible. About noon, I left him in a little back parlour on the ground floor. His mother and a friend were with him. I was returning from the kitchen to the child and had just reached the top of the staircase when I saw, coming from the door of the room, the form of a little child. It did not step on the ground, but immediately went up over the staircase and disappeared from me. The bed on which the sick child had been lying was close to the door of the room, and that door was no more than about a foot from the top of the staircase which I came up. As I entered the room, his mother said, "He is just gone." The figure that I saw was a little child, fair and fresh-looking and perfectly healthy. It looked fatter and younger than the little sick boy, and had a very animated, happy expression. It was like a living child, only so light. Compare the above account of a vision by a girl of 16 with the following narration of an imperfect vision of the same kind, which occurred later to the same person, Mrs. D. Well, more than 20 years after that, I was sitting up with the mother of a child who had been ill for 3 or 4 days with fits. The child was no more than 2 years old. The mother had one arm under the child's head. I was on the other side of the bed, lying by the side of the child, and the fire was burning brightly on the same side of the room as that on which the mother sat. Suddenly, I saw the fire darkened by something that seemed to flutter or move backwards and forwards before it. I noticed this to the mother, who was between the bed and the fire, but she did not see it and declared that the fire was bright. Well, the fits left the child about 6 o'clock, and it lay perfectly still till it had ceased to breathe at about 10:30. I saw the darkening of the fire for an hour before the child died, and the instant it expired, i.e. the child died, the fire was distinctly visible again. Now the seer of the above was an uneducated woman who could not account for the variation in her 2 visions, and who had certainly never heard of the different degrees of opening of the spirit's sight. To me, therefore, the account of the second version confirmed the truth of the first. Had she invented both stories, she would most likely have made the second instance appear more striking and wonderful. But she was not given to invention. I had known this woman for many years, and her character is quite above